She doesn't fit the image we need for a CEO's partner, the board had said. So Daniel ended it. He told Serena it was for the best. 5 years later, he stood on stage at the biggest business conference of the year. Welcome, everyone, to... The VIP doors opened. His ex-girlfriend walked in, but she wasn't alone. 3 children walked beside her. 2 girls and a boy, with blonde curly hair and green eyes. His eyes, his hair, his face. The entire auditorium went silent. His supermodel girlfriend in the front row stood up. Daniel, who are those children? But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel and let's get started. We need to talk about your girlfriend. Daniel Carter looked up from his computer screen. Richard Thompson stood in the doorway of Daniel's office. Richard was the head of the board of investors at TechVision Industries. He wore a dark suit, and his face was serious. Right now? Daniel asked. Right now, Richard said. The board is waiting for you in the executive conference room, 45th floor. Daniel stood up. His heart beat faster. He thought they were going to talk about his promotion. For 3 months, everyone at TechVision said Daniel would become the next CEO. To be CEO, they said the announcement would come soon. Daniel grabbed his jacket and followed Richard to the elevator. They rode up in silence. Daniel looked at his reflection in the elevator doors. He wore a gray suit and a blue tie. His blonde hair was neat. He looked professional. He looked ready. The elevator opened on the 45th floor. Daniel walked down the hallway to the conference room. The door was glass. Through it, Daniel could see 8 people sitting around a long glass table. 6 men and 2 women. All of them were members of the board of investors. All of them controlled TechVision Industries. Richard opened the door. Daniel, please sit down. Daniel sat in the empty chair at the end of the table. Everyone looked at him. No one smiled. Daniel, Richard began, we asked you here today because we have some concerns. Concerns about what? Daniel asked. About your personal life, said Margaret Chen. She was one of the 2 women on the board. She owned 12% of TechVision stock. Specifically, about your girlfriend, Serena Williams. Daniel felt his stomach drop. What about Serena? Richard leaned forward. Daniel, we have been watching your relationship for some time. Serena is a very nice woman. I am sure she is kind and intelligent. But she does not fit the image we want for TechVision. I do not understand, Daniel said. Let me be clear, Richard continued. Serena works at a nonprofit organization in Brooklyn. She comes from a middle-class background. She does not have connections to major investors or business leaders. When you become CEO of TechVision, you will represent this company at every event, every conference, every meeting. Your personal life will be part of our public image. Serena is a project manager, Daniel said. She is good at her job. She is educated. She is not what we need, Margaret interrupted. We need a CEO whose personal life reflects success and status. We need someone whose partner comes from wealth and influence. Someone who opens doors for us. Daniel stared at the table. His hands felt cold. We are prepared to make you CEO of TechVision Industries, Richard said. The salary is $2 million per year, plus stock options, plus bonuses. You will run one of the biggest technology companies in America. You will have power and respect. Everything you worked for your entire life will be yours. But there is a condition, Margaret added. Daniel looked up. What condition? You must end your relationship with Serena Williams, Richard said. We are giving you 1 week to make your decision. End the relationship and become CEO, or keep the relationship and stay vice president. The room was silent. Daniel could hear his own heartbeat. He could hear the air conditioning humming. 1 week, Richard repeated. That is all. The meeting ended. Daniel rode the elevator back down to his office. He closed the door and sat at his desk. Through the window he could see all of New York City. Buildings stretched into the sky. The sun was setting. The city looked golden. Daniel opened his drawer. Inside was a small black box. He opened it. An engagement ring sat inside. Diamond. Simple. Beautiful. Daniel bought it 2 weeks ago. He planned to propose to Serena after the board made his promotion official. He planned to take her to dinner at their favorite restaurant. He would get on one knee and ask her to marry him. He imagined her saying yes. He imagined their future together. Now Daniel stared at the ring and felt sick. That night, Daniel went home to his apartment in Manhattan. Serena called him at 8 o'clock. "Hi," she said. Her voice was warm. "How was your day?" "It was fine," Daniel lied. "Did the board say anything about the promotion?" "Not yet," Daniel said. "It will happen soon," Serena said. "I know it will. You worked so hard for this, Daniel. I am so proud of you." Daniel closed his eyes. "Thank you." "Do you want to come over tonight?" Serena asked. "I made pasta." "I cannot tonight," Daniel said. "I have work to finish." "Okay, I love you." "I love you too," Daniel said. Then he hung up. Daniel did not sleep that night. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling. He thought about Serena. They met 3 years ago at a bookstore in Manhattan. Serena was buying a book about community organizing. Daniel was buying a book about business strategy. They reached for the same coffee on the bookstore cafe counter. They laughed. They talked. Daniel asked for her number. On their first date, Serena told Daniel about her work at the nonprofit. She helped low-income families get job training. She worked long hours for low pay. But she loved her work. She believed in it. Daniel admired her. She cared about things that mattered. She was kind and real. Daniel fell in love with her. But now the board said Serena was not enough. They said she did not fit their image. They said Daniel had to choose. Saturday came. Daniel did not call Serena. He walked around his apartment. He thought about his childhood in Philadelphia. His family was poor. His father lost his job at the factory when Daniel was 12 years old. His mother cleaned houses. She worked 6 days a week. Daniel remembered watching his mother count coins on the kitchen table to buy groceries. He remembered wearing shoes with holes in them because his parents could not afford new ones. He remembered feeling ashamed when other kids at school had nicer clothes and nicer things. Daniel promised himself he would never be poor. He studied every night. He got a scholarship to NYU. He graduated at the top of his class. He got the internship at Tech Vision. He climbed every step of the corporate ladder. He worked 16-hour days. He sacrificed everything. And now he was 1 week away from becoming CEO. 1 week away from $2 million per year. 1 week away from power and respect, and proof that he was not a failure. But the cost was Serena. Sunday night, Daniel still did not sleep. He sat by his window and watched the city lights. He picked up his phone 10 times to call Serena. 10 times, he put it down. Monday morning came. Daniel called Serena at 9 o'clock. "Hi," Serena said. "I did not hear from you all weekend. Is everything okay?" "Can we meet?" Daniel asked. "At our coffee shop?" "Of course," Serena said. "Is something wrong?" "I just need to talk to you," Daniel said. They met at 11 o'clock at a small coffee shop in Manhattan. It was their favorite place. They went there on their first date. Serena was already sitting at a table by the window when Daniel arrived. She wore jeans and a green sweater. Her dark hair was pulled back. She smiled when she saw Daniel, But the smile faded when she saw his face. "What is wrong?" Serena asked. Daniel sat down across from her. He could not look at her eyes. "I have been thinking a lot this weekend," Daniel said. "About us. About our relationship." "Okay," Serena said slowly. "I think we want different things in life," Daniel said. The words felt like rocks in his mouth. "I think it is better if we end this now." Serena stared at him. "What are you talking about?" "I am saying the relationship is over," Daniel said. "Why?" Serena's voice broke. "What happened? Everything was fine last week. You said you loved me. You said—" "I know what I said," Daniel interrupted, "but I thought about it. We are not right for each other. We are going in different directions." Tears filled Serena's eyes. "Different directions?" "Daniel, please just tell me the truth. What changed?" Daniel wanted to tell her. He wanted to say the board gave him an ultimatum. He wanted to say he was a coward. He wanted to say he chose his career over her. But he did not say any of that. "This is for the best," Daniel said. "You will understand eventually." Serena started crying. "I do not understand now. I love you. I thought you loved me." "I am sorry," Daniel said. He stood up. "Daniel, please do not do this," Serena said. She reached for his hand, but he pulled away. "Goodbye, Serena," Daniel said. Then he walked out of the coffee shop. Daniel stood on the sidewalk outside. Through the window he could see Serena sitting at the table. She was crying. Her shoulders shook. People at other tables looked at her. Daniel felt like he could not breathe. He turned and walked away. 2 days later, the board of Tech Vision called Daniel into the conference room. Richard Thompson smiled and shook Daniel's hand. "Welcome, Mr. Carter," Richard said. "We are pleased to officially offer you the position of Chief Executive Officer." Richard placed a contract on the table. Daniel picked up a pen. His hand shook as he signed his name on the line at the bottom of the page. As the ink dried, Daniel thought about Serena's face in the coffee shop. He thought about her tears. He thought about the way she asked him to tell her the truth. And he thought about how he lied to her and walked away. The contract sat on Daniel's desk for 3 days before the company made the announcement. On Thursday morning, Tech Vision Industries sent a press release to every major business newspaper in America. The headline read, "Daniel Carter named CEO of Tech Vision Industries at age 32. Daniel's assistant brought him a stack of newspapers and magazines. His photo appeared on the covers. Businessweek called him the youngest tech CEO in New York. Forbes wrote an article titled, "From Intern to CEO, the Daniel Carter Story." Tech Today published a full-page interview. Daniel's phone rang constantly. Reporters wanted interviews. Investors wanted meetings. Business schools wanted him to speak to their students. Richard Thompson came to Daniel's office on Friday afternoon. "Congratulations, Daniel," Richard said. "The board is very pleased. Your story is exactly what we need. Everyone loves a success story." "Thank you," Daniel said. "We are moving you to the corner office on this floor," Richard continued. "It has floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Much better than this space." Daniel looked around his current office. He worked in this room for 5 years. Now he was leaving it behind. The movers came on Monday. They packed Daniel's desk and his files and his books. By Tuesday morning, Daniel sat in his new corner office. The room was twice as large as his old space. 3 walls were glass. Daniel could see all of Manhattan. He could see Central Park. He could see the rivers on both sides of the island. But when Daniel sat at his new desk, he felt empty. His assistant knocked on the door. "Mr. Carter, you have 17 meeting requests for this week, and the legal department needs you to sign these documents about your salary and stock options." Daniel looked at the papers. His salary was $2 million per year, plus bonuses, plus stock options worth another $3 million. Daniel grew up watching his mother count coins to buy food. Now he made more money in 1 year than his parents made in their entire lives. Daniel signed the papers. For the next 6 months, Daniel worked 16 hours every day. He arrived at the office at 7 in the morning. He left at 11 at night. He attended board meetings and investor presentations. He traveled to San Francisco and Boston and Seattle to meet with clients. He worked through weekends. He worked through holidays. He did not call Serena. He blocked her number from his phone. He told himself it was easier this way. Clean break. No contact. But late at night, when Daniel finally went home to his apartment, he thought about her. He wondered where she was. He wondered if she was okay. He wondered if she hated him. Then he pushed those thoughts away and went to sleep. In December, 6 months after Daniel became CEO, TechVision Industries sponsored a charity gala at a hotel in Manhattan. The event raised money for technology education in public schools. All the major business leaders in New York attended. Daniel wore his most expensive suit. He stood near the bar, talking to investors. Richard Thompson approached with a woman beside him. "Daniel," Richard said, "I want you to meet Ashley Monroe." Daniel turned and saw her. Ashley Monroe was tall and beautiful. She had long, straight blonde hair and blue eyes. She wore a silver dress that looked like it cost thousands of dollars. Daniel recognized her face from magazine covers. "Ashley is a model," Richard said. "Her father is Marcus Monroe, the film producer. Ashley, this is Daniel Carter, our CEO." Ashley smiled and held out her hand. "It is nice to meet you, Daniel. I read about you in Forbes. Very impressive." "Thank you," Daniel said. He shook her hand. "Richard tells me you started at TechVision as an intern," Ashley said. "That must have been difficult." "It was hard work," Daniel said, "but it was worth it." "I admire that," Ashley said. "Ambition is attractive." They talked for 20 minutes. Ashley asked Daniel about his work. Daniel asked Ashley about modeling. Their conversation was smooth and polished. Ashley laughed at the right moments. She touched Daniel's arm when she spoke. She gave him her phone number before she left. Richard pulled Daniel aside after Ashley walked away. "She is perfect for you," Richard said quietly. "Beautiful, sophisticated, connected. Her father knows every important person in Los Angeles. The board would be very happy to see you with someone like Ashley." Daniel looked across the room, where Ashley stood talking to other guests. She moved with confidence. Everyone looked at her. "Call her," Richard said. "Take her to dinner." Daniel called Ashley 3 days later. They had dinner at an expensive restaurant in Manhattan. Ashley wore a red dress. She talked about her modeling career and the fashion shows she walked in Paris and Milan. Daniel talked about TechVision and the company's growth. They both smiled a lot. They both said the right things. After dinner, Ashley kissed Daniel on the sidewalk outside the restaurant. Photographers took pictures. The photos appeared in celebrity magazines the next week. Daniel and Ashley started dating. The relationship moved fast. Ashley came to company events with Daniel. She stood next to him in photographs. She looked perfect in every picture. Daniel introduced her to the board members. They all approved. "Much better than the last one," Margaret Chen said to Daniel at a board meeting. "Ashley is exactly the image we want." Daniel did not think about Serena. He did not let himself think about her. 1 year after Daniel became CEO, he took Ashley to dinner at a restaurant on top of a skyscraper in Manhattan. The restaurant had views of the entire city. Daniel ordered champagne. After the main course, he got down on one knee. "Ashley," Daniel said, "will you marry me?" Ashley smiled wide. "Yes," she said. Daniel placed the ring on her finger. It was a different ring than the one he bought for Serena. This ring was bigger, more expensive. Ashley held up her hand and looked at it under the restaurant lights. "It is beautiful," Ashley said. The next day, their engagement appeared in fashion magazines and business newspapers. Supermodel Ashley Monroe engaged to tech CEO Daniel Carter, the headlines read. The articles included photos of Ashley showing her ring. Daniel's phone rang that evening. It was his mother calling from Philadelphia. "Daniel," his mother said, "I saw the news about your engagement." "Yes," Daniel said, "we are very happy." His mother was quiet for a moment. "What happened to Serena? I thought you were going to marry her." "That did not work out," Daniel said. "Why not? I liked Serena. She was kind. She was real." "Mom, Serena and I wanted different things," Daniel said. "Ashley is better for my life now." "Better for your life or better for your image?" his mother asked. "I have to go," Daniel said. "I have a meeting." "Daniel!" "Goodbye, Mom," Daniel said. He hung up. Daniel and Ashley got married 6 months later at a luxury hotel in Manhattan. 300 people attended. Business leaders, investors, celebrities, fashion designers. The ceremony took place in a ballroom with crystal chandeliers. Ashley wore a designer wedding dress that cost $50,000. Daniel wore a custom suit. Photographers took pictures all night. The wedding appeared in 5 different magazines. Daniel and Ashley moved into a penthouse apartment overlooking Central Park. The apartment had 4 bedrooms, a chef's kitchen, and floor-to-ceiling windows. Daniel bought expensive cars. He bought designer clothes. He bought everything the board of TechVision expected a successful CEO to own. Everyone told Daniel he had a perfect life, perfect wife, perfect apartment, perfect career. But late at night, when Ashley was asleep in their bedroom, Daniel sometimes stood by the windows and looked at the city below. He thought about Serena. He wondered if she still lived in New York. He wondered if she ever thought about him. Then Daniel went back to bed and told himself he made the right choice. 3 more years passed. Daniel was 36 years old now. TechVision Industries grew larger every year. The company's stock price increased 40%. Daniel earned millions of dollars. He spoke at business conferences around the country. He appeared on television shows. Business magazines wrote articles calling him one of the most successful CEOs in America. But Daniel did not feel successful. He felt tired. He and Ashley lived in the same apartment, but they barely spoke. Ashley traveled for modeling jobs. Daniel traveled for business. When they were both home, they attended events together. They smiled for cameras. They said the right things, but they did not talk about real things. They did not connect. Daniel sat in his office one afternoon in March. His assistant knocked on the door. "Mr. Carter," she said, "you received an invitation to speak at the National Business Conference in Chicago next month. It is one of the biggest conferences in the country. Over 200 executives will attend." "Accept it," Daniel said. That evening, Daniel came home to the penthouse. Ashley was in the living room looking at her phone. "I am speaking at a conference in Chicago next month," Daniel told her. Ashley looked up. "The National Business Conference?" "Yes," Ashley smiled. "I want to come with you. It will be good for my image to be seen there. All the major business magazines will cover it." "Fine," Daniel said. "Book your flight." Ashley went back to her phone. Daniel walked to the window and looked out at Central Park. In 4 weeks, he would go to Chicago and give a speech about success. He would talk about ambition and sacrifice and hard work. He would tell 200 people how to build a successful career. But Daniel did not feel like a success. He felt like a man who traded everything real for everything empty. He just did not know it yet. Daniel spent the next 3 weeks preparing his speech. Every night after work, he sat in his home office writing and rewriting the words. The speech was about success. It was about making hard choices. It was about sacrifice and determination. Ashley walked into his office one evening while he was practicing. "How does it sound?" Ashley asked. Daniel looked up from his notes. "I think it is ready." "Good," Ashley said. "I already bought a new dress for the conference. Red. It photographs well." "Okay," Daniel said. Ashley left the room. Daniel looked back at his speech. The words felt hollow. He was going to stand on a stage and tell 200 people how to be successful. But Daniel could not remember the last time he felt truly happy. On Thursday morning in April, Daniel and Ashley flew to Chicago. They sat in first class. Ashley read fashion magazines during the flight. Daniel reviewed his speech one more time. The plane landed at noon. A car picked them up at the airport and drove them to the conference hotel. The hotel was downtown, a tall building with glass windows. The National Business Conference was being held in the main ballroom. Banners hung in the lobby with the names of all the speakers. Daniel saw his own name in large letters. Daniel Carter, CEO of Tech Vision Industries. They checked into their suite on the 20th floor. The room had 2 bedrooms, a living area, and windows overlooking the city. "I am going to rest before tonight," Ashley said. She went into the bedroom and closed the door. Daniel stood by the window. He could see other buildings and streets below. Cars moved through the city. People walked on sidewalks. Everyone was going somewhere. That evening, Ashley spent 2 hours getting ready. Daniel sat in the living area wearing his suit. He was ready in 20 minutes. At 7 o'clock, Ashley finally came out of the bedroom. She wore a red designer dress that fit her perfectly. Her blonde hair was styled in waves. Her makeup was flawless. She looked like she was going to a movie premiere, not a business conference. "How do I look?" Ashley asked. "You look fine," Daniel said. "Fine?" Ashley frowned. "I look better than fine, Daniel." "You look beautiful," Daniel corrected. Ashley smiled. "That is better. Let me take a photo." She held up her phone and took several pictures of herself in the mirror. Then she posted one to social media with the caption, "National Business Conference with my CEO." They went downstairs to the conference hall. The ballroom was massive. Rows of chairs filled the space. At the front was a stage with a podium and a microphone. Behind the stage hung a large banner that read, "National Business Conference Chicago." Daniel's name appeared on a screen to the side of the stage. People were already filling the seats. Men and women in business suits talked quietly. Some held notebooks. Some held phones. Daniel recognized several faces. CEOs from other companies. Investors. Entrepreneurs. A woman with a clipboard approached Daniel. "Mr. Carter," she said, "I am Jennifer Lee, the conference coordinator. You are speaking in 15 minutes. Do you need anything?" "No, I am ready," Daniel said. "Wonderful. Your wife can sit in the front row. We have a reserved seat." Ashley walked to the front row and sat down. She crossed her legs and looked around the room. Several people stared at her. She smiled. Daniel went backstage. He could hear the audience talking. More people were arriving. The room was filling up. Daniel looked at his speech one more time. His hands were steady. He felt prepared. He gave speeches all the time. This was just another presentation. At 7:30, Jennifer came backstage. "We are ready for you, Mr. Carter," she said. Jennifer walked onto the stage. The lights dimmed. Everyone stopped talking. Jennifer spoke into the microphone. "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at the National Business Conference. Tonight, we are honored to have Daniel Carter, CEO of TechVision Industries. Mr. Carter started his career as an intern and worked his way to the top of one of America's biggest technology companies. Please welcome Daniel Carter. The audience applauded. Daniel walked onto the stage. The lights were bright. He could see faces in the first few rows. Ashley sat in the front row, smiling. Daniel stepped up to the podium. He placed his speech on the stand. "Good evening," Daniel said into the microphone. His voice was clear and strong. "Thank you for having me here tonight. I want to talk to you about success, about what it takes to reach the top of your field." The audience was quiet. Everyone listened. "Success is not about luck," Daniel continued. "It is about making hard choices. It is about sacrificing comfort for growth. When I was 12 years old, my father lost his job. My family had no money. I watched my mother work 6 days a week just to pay rent. I promised myself I would never be poor. I studied every night. I worked harder than everyone around me. I climbed every step of the corporate ladder." Daniel spoke for 15 minutes. He talked about determination. He talked about focus. He talked about ambition. The audience listened carefully. No one moved. Daniel felt confident. The speech was going well. Then the VIP entrance doors at the back of the auditorium opened. Daniel glanced up from his notes. A woman walked into the room. The lights from the stage made it hard to see clearly. But Daniel's voice stopped mid-sentence. The woman was Serena Williams. Daniel could not move. He could not speak. His hands gripped the podium. Serena looked different than she did 5 years ago. She wore a sharp black business suit. Her dark hair was pulled back in a sleek style. She walked with confidence. She held her head high. But Serena was not alone. 3 children walked beside her. They held her hands, 2 little girls and 1 boy. They were small, maybe 5 years old. All 3 children had blonde curly hair. All 3 had bright green eyes. Daniel stared at them. His heart stopped. The children looked exactly like Daniel when he was a child. The entire auditorium went silent. 200 people turned in their seats to look. Everyone stared at Serena and the 3 children walking down the side aisle. Daniel's hands started shaking. The microphone picked up the sound of his breath. Ashley stood up from her seat in the front row. She turned and looked at Serena and the children. Then she looked at Daniel on the stage. "Daniel!" Ashley screamed. Her voice was high and loud. It echoed through the entire auditorium. "Who are those children?" Every person in the room heard her. Whispers erupted. People leaned toward each other talking. Someone raised a phone and took a photo. The camera flash went off. Daniel could not answer. He could not move. He stared at the 3 children. They had his blonde curly hair. They had his bright green eyes. They looked exactly like him. The little girl on the left looked up at Serena and said something Daniel could not hear. The boy on the right held Serena's hand tighter. The other girl stared at the stage. She stared at Daniel. Serena walked calmly down the aisle. She did not look at Ashley. She did not look at Daniel. She walked to a seat in the 3rd row. The seat had a small reserved sign on it with her name, Serena Williams, Williams Consulting Group. Serena sat down. The 3 children sat on either side of her. 1 girl sat to her left. The boy and the other girl sat to her right. Serena took a program from the seat pocket in front of her and opened it. She looked down at the program as if nothing unusual was happening. The auditorium exploded with noise. Everyone was talking. Ashley was still standing in the front row. She looked at Daniel with wide eyes. "Daniel!" Ashley shouted again. "Answer me! Who are those children?" But Daniel could not speak. He looked at Serena sitting calmly in the 3rd row. He looked at the 3 children. The boy turned his head and looked directly at Daniel. The boy had Daniel's eyes. Daniel's face, Daniel's hair. Daniel's notes fell from the podium. The papers scattered across the stage floor. Daniel bent down to pick them up, but his hands were shaking too hard. He could not hold the papers. Jennifer, the conference coordinator, rushed onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen," Jennifer said into the microphone, "we are going to take a short break. Thank you for your patience." The lights came up. The audience stood up. Everyone was talking loudly. People pointed at Serena. People pointed at the children. Phones came out. More photos were taken. Ashley pushed through the crowd and ran out of the auditorium. Her red dress flashed as she disappeared through their doors. Daniel stood frozen on the stage. He looked at Serena. She still did not look at him. She opened her purse and took out 3 small juice boxes. She handed one to each child. The boy said thank you. The girls said thank you. Serena opened the straws and put them in the juice boxes for the children. They looked like a family. A complete family. A family that Daniel knew nothing about. Daniel walked off the stage. His legs felt weak. He pushed through the side curtain and went backstage. He leaned against the wall. His heart pounded so hard he thought he might be sick. 3 children, blonde hair, green eyes, 5 years old. 5 years ago, Daniel left Serena in that coffee shop. Daniel closed his eyes. The math was simple. The truth was clear. Those children were his. Daniel stayed backstage for 5 minutes. He could hear voices from the auditorium. Loud voices. People were not sitting quietly anymore. They were talking and moving around. Through a crack in the curtain, Daniel could see people standing in the aisles. Some were looking at their phones. Some were taking pictures. Daniel looked at the stage. His speech papers were still scattered on the floor. No one picked them up. Jennifer came backstage. Her face was pale. "Mr. Carter," she said, "I think we should cancel the rest of your session. The audience is very distracted. I am sorry, but—" "It is fine," Daniel interrupted. "Cancel it." Jennifer nodded and walked back out. Daniel heard her voice over the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are ending this evening's session early. Please proceed to the reception area for refreshments. Thank you." Daniel went to the side exit. He opened the door and stepped into a hallway. The hallway was empty and quiet. Daniel's hands were still shaking. He took out his phone. 53 missed calls. Most were from Ashley. Daniel put the phone back in his pocket. He walked down the hallway toward the main conference area. He had to find Serena. He had to understand what was happening. When he reached the lobby outside the ballroom, people were everywhere. Groups of executives stood talking in low voices. Some stared at Daniel when he walked past. Daniel ignored them. He searched the conference rooms on the first floor. Empty. He searched the hallways. Empty. He went to the main hotel lobby. It was large, with marble floors and tall ceilings. People sat on couches. People stood near the front desk. Then Daniel saw her. Serena stood near the elevators. The 3 children stood close to her. One girl held Serena's hand. The boy stood on her other side. The second girl was looking at a plant in a large pot. Daniel walked toward them. His legs felt heavy. He stopped a few feet away. Serena turned and looked at him. Her face showed no emotion. The children looked up at Daniel with curious eyes. "Serena," Daniel said quietly. His voice shook. "Daniel," Serena said. Her voice was cold. "Are they—" Daniel stopped. He looked at the children. "Are they mine?" Serena did not answer right away. She looked at Daniel for a long moment. Then she said, "Yes." The word hit Daniel like a punch. He knew it was true. He knew it the moment he saw them. But hearing Serena say it made it real. "What are their names?" Daniel asked. "Emma, Lily, and Jack, Serena said. She pointed to each child. Emma is the oldest, then Lily, then Jack. Emma had her blonde hair in 2 braids. She wore a blue dress and white shoes. Lily wore a yellow dress with flowers on it. Her hair was loose around her shoulders. Jack wore khaki pants and a green shirt. All 3 children stared at Daniel. How? Daniel could not finish the sentence. How is this possible? Serena finished for him. I found out I was pregnant 1 week after you ended our relationship. 1 week, Daniel. Daniel felt like the floor was moving under him. I tried to tell you, Serena continued. Her voice was calm, but her words were sharp. I called you 53 times. I counted every single call. You blocked my number. I did not know, Daniel said. You did not want to know, Serena corrected. I sent you emails. You never responded. I went to Tech Vision headquarters. I stood in the lobby and asked security to let me see you. They said you left instructions not to let me in. I went 3 times. 3 times they turned me away. Daniel remembered. 5 years ago, right after he became CEO, he told security he did not want any visitors without appointments. He told his assistant to delete any emails from Serena without reading them. He blocked her number. He wanted a clean break. He wanted to forget. I tried for months, Serena said, but you built a wall. You made it impossible to reach you. I am sorry, Daniel said. The words felt useless. Sorry does not change anything, Serena said. I was pregnant with triplets and I was alone. Completely alone. My parents died when I was 23. I had no family, no support. Triplets, Daniel repeated. The word felt strange in his mouth. Yes, I found out when I was 2 months pregnant. The doctor told me I was having 3 babies. I was terrified. I worked 2 jobs to save money. I worked at the non-profit during the day. I cleaned offices at night. My feet swelled so badly I could barely walk. But I had to work. I had no one to help me. Emma looked up at Serena. Mommy, I am thirsty. Serena reached into her purse and pulled out a water bottle. She handed it to Emma. Emma drank and then gave it back. Serena wiped Emma's mouth with her hand. I gave birth in a public hospital in Brooklyn, Serena continued. No one was there with me. I was in labor for 14 hours, alone. When the babies were born, I looked at them and I knew I had to keep going. I had to survive for them. Daniel could not speak. He imagined Serena alone in a hospital room. He imagined her holding 3 newborn babies. He imagined her coming home to an empty apartment with no help. After they were born, I started my own business, Serena said. I did consulting work from home. I worked after the triplets went to sleep. Sometimes I worked all night. I was exhausted every single day. But I built my company. Now it is worth $3 million. I did that. Alone. Jack tugged on Serena's jacket. Mom, can we go to the room? I am tired. Soon, Serena said gently. She looked back at Daniel. I came to this conference because I earned my spot as a speaker. I am presenting tomorrow afternoon about business strategy for nonprofits. I did not come here because of you. I did not know you were speaking tonight until I saw the schedule this morning. Why did you bring them? Daniel asked. He gestured to the children. Because I am raising them alone, Serena said. I do not have a nanny. I do not have family to watch them. Where I go, they go. That is what being a parent means, Daniel. Lily looked at Daniel. Are you the man Mommy used to know? Serena looked down at Lily. Yes, sweetie. Why is he staring at us? Lily asked. Because he is surprised to meet you, Serena said. Daniel knelt down so he was at the children's eye level. Up close, he could see their faces clearly. They had his eyes, his hair, his nose. They looked exactly like photos of Daniel when he was 5 years old. Why did you never try to find me again? Daniel asked Serena. After that first year? Serena's expression hardened. I did try. I looked you up online constantly. I saw when you got engaged to Ashley Monroe. I saw the photos in the magazines. You were smiling in every picture. You moved on so quickly. Like I never existed. Like we never existed. I did not know about them, Daniel said again. You did not want to know, Serena repeated. You chose your image. You chose your career. You chose to block me out completely. So I stopped trying. I decided my children did not need a father who was too much of a coward to face the truth. The words stung. Daniel stood back up. I am not here to punish you, Serena said. I do not need your money. I do not need your name. Emma, Lily, and Jack are happy. They have a good life. They have me. That is enough. Can I? Daniel stopped. Can I be part of their lives? Serena stared at him. Why would you want that now? Because they are my children, Daniel said. Now they are your children? Serena's voice rose slightly. 5 years, Daniel. You missed 5 years. You missed their first words, their first steps, their first day of school. You missed everything. Emma looked scared. She held Serena's hand tighter. Jack moved closer to his mother. Serena took a breath and lowered her voice. I need to take them upstairs. It is past their bedtime. Please, Daniel said. Can we talk more? Tomorrow? No, Serena said. We are leaving tomorrow morning. I am withdrawing from the conference. I will not put my children through this circus. Serena turned and pressed the elevator button. The doors opened immediately. She walked inside with Emma, Lily, and Jack. The children looked back at Daniel as the doors began to close. Serena, please, Daniel said. But the elevator doors closed. Daniel stood alone in the hotel lobby. People walked past him. Some stared. Someone whispered. Daniel heard a camera click. He turned and saw a man taking a photo with his phone. Daniel walked to the elevators and pressed the button. He waited. When the doors opened, he stepped inside and rode up to the 20th floor. He walked down the hallway to his suite. He used his key card to open the door. The suite was dark. Daniel turned on the lights. Ashley's suitcase was gone. Her makeup bag was gone. Her clothes were gone. The bedroom was empty. On the bed were papers. Daniel walked over and picked them up. Divorce papers. Ashley's signature was already on them. Next to the papers was a note written on hotel stationery in Ashley's handwriting. You made me look like a fool in front of everyone. We are done. My lawyer will contact you. Daniel sat on the edge of the bed. He held the divorce papers in his hands. His phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. 200 missed calls now. Text messages flooded in. Daniel opened social media. The photo was everywhere. The photo from the auditorium. Daniel stood on stage, frozen mid-speech. In the background, Serena walked in with 3 blonde children. The photo had been shared thousands of times. Comments filled the screen. CEO's secret children. Daniel Carter abandoned his kids. This is the real story behind his success. Daniel closed his phone. He lay back on the bed and stared at the ceiling. Somewhere in this hotel, Serena was putting 3 children to sleep. His children, Emma, Lily, and Jack. 3 5-year-old children who did not know him, who had no reason to know him. Daniel closed his eyes. His phone rang. He looked at the screen. Richard Thompson. Daniel answered. Get back to New York, Richard said. His voice was hard. Now, the board is calling an emergency meeting tomorrow morning. Do not talk to anyone. Do not answer any questions. Just get on the first flight out. Richard hung up. Daniel lay in the dark hotel room alone. Outside the window, Chicago glowed with lights. But inside, everything felt black. Daniel did not sleep that night. He lay on the hotel bed with his eyes open. Outside the window, the sky slowly changed from black to dark blue to gray. Morning came. At 6 o'clock, Daniel got up. He took a shower and put on the same suit from the night before. He packed his suitcase. He left the divorce papers on the bed. Daniel went downstairs to the lobby. A few people sat in chairs, drinking coffee. They looked at Daniel and then looked away quickly. Daniel heard them whisper. He checked out of the hotel and took a taxi to the airport. The driver recognized him. "You are that CEO guy," the driver said. "I saw your picture on the news this morning." Daniel did not respond. He looked out the window. "They are saying you have 3 secret kids," the driver continued. "Is that true?" "Please just drive," Daniel said. The driver went quiet. At the airport, Daniel bought a ticket for the next flight to New York. He sat in the waiting area. People stared at him. A woman took out her phone and pointed it in his direction. Daniel stood up and moved to a different gate. He boarded the plane at 8:30. He sat in first class. The seat next to him was empty. Daniel was grateful. He did not want to talk to anyone. As the plane took off, Daniel opened his phone. He had 300 missed calls now. Emails filled his inbox, text messages from people he barely knew. Everyone wanted to know the truth. Everyone had questions. Daniel opened a news website. The story was the main headline. TechVision CEO's secret triplets revealed at Chicago conference. There was the photo from the auditorium. Daniel frozen on stage. Serena walking in with Emma, Lily, and Jack. Daniel scrolled down. Another article. Who is Serena Williams? The article included information about Serena's consulting business. It included photos of her from her company website. It called her the woman Daniel Carter left behind. Another article. TechVision stock drops 4% following CEO scandal. Investors were concerned. The scandal was affecting the company. Daniel closed his phone. He leaned his head back against the seat. He thought about Serena alone and pregnant. He thought about her calling him 53 times. 53 times she tried to reach him. 53 times he ignored her. He thought about her going to TechVision headquarters, standing in the lobby, asking to see him. And Daniel had told security to turn her away. He did not even know she was there. He never gave her a chance. The plane landed in New York at 11:30. Daniel took a taxi straight to TechVision headquarters in Manhattan. The building was tall and made of glass. Daniel had worked here for 15 years. He started as an intern on the 3rd floor. Now his office was on the 45th floor. Daniel walked through the lobby. Employees stared at him. No one said hello. No one smiled. Daniel rode the elevator alone to the 45th floor. His assistant was not at her desk. The floor was quiet. Daniel walked past his office. The door was closed. He continued down the hallway to the executive conference room. The door was glass. Through it, Daniel could see the board of investors. All 8 of them sat around the long glass table. The same table where they told Daniel to leave Serena 5 years ago. The same table where they made him CEO. Daniel opened the door and walked in. Richard Thompson sat at the head of the table. Margaret Chen sat to his right. The others sat along the sides. No one stood to greet Daniel. No one shook his hand. "Sit down, Daniel," Richard said. Daniel sat in the empty chair at the end of the table. The same chair he sat in 5 years ago when they gave him the ultimatum. "I assume you saw the news," Richard said. "I did," Daniel answered. TechVision stock dropped 4% yesterday afternoon, Margaret said. 4% in 6 hours. Do you understand what that means? It means investors are worried, Daniel said. "It means this scandal is damaging our company," Richard said. "Your personal life is affecting our reputation. The board has been in contact all night. We held a vote this morning at 7 o'clock. Daniel said nothing. He knew what was coming. "We are removing you as CEO of TechVision Industries," Richard said. "Effective immediately." Daniel looked around the table. No one met his eyes. "You brought this on yourself," Margaret said. "You should have been honest. You should have handled this privately. Instead, the whole world found out in front of 200 people at a business conference." "I did not know those children existed," Daniel said quietly. "That is not our problem," Richard said. "Our problem is that TechVision is losing value. Our problem is that every news outlet in America is writing about our CEO's scandal. We cannot have that. We built this company's reputation carefully. You destroyed it in one night." Daniel felt a strange calm wash over him. He looked at Richard Thompson. 5 years ago, Richard sat in this same chair and told Daniel to leave Serena. Richard said she did not fit the image. He said Daniel had to choose. And Daniel chose this table, he chose these people, he chose this company. "You are right," Daniel said. Everyone looked surprised. "I did destroy your reputation," Daniel continued, "but you destroyed my life first." "Excuse me?" Richard said. Daniel stood up. 5 years ago, you sat in this room and told me to end my relationship with Serena. You said she did not fit your image. You gave me an ultimatum. Be CEO or keep the woman I loved. I chose CEO. I chose you. I chose this company. And it was the worst decision of my life. "Daniel, sit down," Margaret said. "No," Daniel said. "I am done sitting. I am done listening to you. 5 years ago, I walked away from Serena because I was afraid. I was afraid of losing this job. I was afraid of disappointing you. I was a coward." "We did what was best for the company," Richard said. "You did what was best for yourselves," Daniel corrected. "You did not care about me. You cared about image, about connections, about money. I abandoned the woman I loved because you told me to, and because I was too weak to say no." Richard's face turned red. "We made you CEO. We gave you everything." "You gave me nothing that mattered," Daniel said. "I have 3 children I never knew existed. 3 5-year-old children who do not know my name. I missed their births. I missed their first words, their first steps, their first days of school. I missed 5 years because I listened to you." "This is not our fault," Margaret said. "You are right," Daniel said. "It is my fault. I made the choice. I walked away. But I will not make that mistake again." Daniel pulled out his phone. He placed it on the table. "You were going to vote to remove me as CEO. You do not need to vote. I resign." The room went silent. Richard and Margaret looked at each other. "You are resigning?" Richard asked. "Yes," Daniel said. "I am done. I will not let you control my life anymore. 5 years ago, you asked me to choose between love and business. I chose business. And I lost everything that mattered. I will not lose anything else." Daniel walked to the door. He turned back and looked at the board members one more time. "I hope it was worth it," Daniel said. "I hope the image was worth it. I hope the reputation was worth it. Because it cost me my family." Daniel opened the door and walked out. He went to his corner office. His assistant was there now. She looked at him with wide eyes but said not say anything. Daniel took a cardboard box from the supply closet. He packed his personal items. A few books. Some photos. His college diploma hanging on the wall. It all fit in one small box. Daniel walked to the elevator carrying the box. Employees watched him from their desks. No one spoke. The elevator doors opened. Daniel stepped inside. As the doors closed, Daniel saw his reflection in the metal. He looked tired. He looked older than 36. But for the first time in 5 years, Daniel felt like he could breathe. The elevator reached the ground floor. Daniel walked through the lobby and out the front doors of Tech Vision headquarters. He stood on the sidewalk in Manhattan. Cars drove past. People walked by. The city moved around him. Daniel looked up at the tall glass building behind him. He worked there for 15 years. He climbed to the very top, and now he was leaving with a cardboard box and no plan. But Daniel knew one thing. He knew where he needed to go. He needed to find Serena. He needed to see his children. He needed to fix what he broke 5 years ago, if it was not already too late. Daniel took a taxi to his penthouse apartment. The building was on the Upper East Side overlooking Central Park. Daniel lived there for 4 years with Ashley. The doorman opened the door when Daniel arrived. "Good afternoon, Mr. Carter," the doorman said. He looked uncomfortable. Daniel nodded and walked to the elevator. He rode up to the 28th floor. The hallway was quiet. Daniel unlocked his apartment door and went inside. The penthouse was silent. Daniel set the cardboard box on the floor. He walked through the living room. Ashley's magazines were gone from the coffee table. He went to the bedroom. Ashley's side of the closet was empty. No dresses, no shoes, no jewelry. She took everything. Daniel sat on the couch in the living room. The apartment felt cold. He looked around at the expensive furniture and the art on the walls. None of it meant anything. Daniel opened his laptop. He typed Serena Williams Consulting into the search bar. Several results appeared. Daniel clicked on the first one. The website was professional and clean. At the top it said, Williams Consulting Group Business Strategy for Nonprofits and Community Organizations. Below that was a photo of Serena. She wore a black blazer and smiled at the camera. She looked confident. She looked successful. Daniel scrolled down. The website explained that Williams Consulting Group helped small nonprofits create business plans and fundraising strategies. The company had 12 employees. The office was located in downtown Boston, Massachusetts. Daniel clicked on the About section. There was more information about Serena. She founded the company 6 years ago. No, Daniel thought, 5 years ago. She founded it after he left her. She built this entire business while raising 3 children alone. At the bottom of the page was a contact section. There was a phone number and an address. The office was on Harbor Street in Boston. Daniel wrote down the address. He closed the laptop and looked at the paper. Boston was a 4-hour drive from New York, or a 1-hour flight. Daniel's phone buzzed. An email from a lawyer he did not know. The subject line said, Divorce Proceedings Monroe versus Carter. Daniel deleted it without reading. Another email came in. A reporter from Businessweek wanted an interview. Daniel deleted it. Another email. A friend from college asking if Daniel was okay. Daniel closed his email. He sat on the couch for a long time. Outside the window, the sun moved across the sky. Afternoon became evening. Daniel did not eat. He did not move. That night, Daniel lay in bed, but could not sleep. He thought about Emma, Lily, and Jack. He tried to remember their faces. Emma with braids in her hair, Lily in the yellow dress with flowers, Jack holding Serena's hand. The next day was Friday. Daniel stayed in the apartment. He did not shower. He did not change clothes. He sat on the couch and stared at the wall. More emails came. Ashley's lawyer sent 3 messages. Daniel deleted all of them. A reporter called. Daniel did not answer. Richard Thompson called. Daniel declined the call. Saturday morning came. Daniel finally took a shower. He made coffee, but could not drink it. He stood by the window and looked at Central Park below. People walked on the paths. Children played on the grass. Families sat together on benches. Daniel picked up his phone. He opened the web browser and searched for flights to Boston. There were 6 flights that day. Daniel almost bought a ticket. But then he stopped. He could not just show up in Boston. Serena would tell him to leave. She made it clear in Chicago that she did not need him. She did not want him in her life. Daniel put the phone down. Sunday passed the same way. Daniel sat in the apartment. He did not talk to anyone. He did not answer his phone. He thought about what to say to Serena. He thought about what to say to his children. But every time he tried to imagine the conversation, his mind went blank. Monday morning arrived. Daniel woke up and looked at himself in the bathroom mirror. He looked terrible. His eyes were red. He had not shaved in 3 days. His blonde hair was messy. Daniel took a long shower. He shaved. He put on jeans and a simple shirt. He packed a small suitcase with clothes for a few days. He picked up his phone and booked a ticket to Boston. The flight left at noon. Daniel took a taxi to LaGuardia Airport. He checked his bag and went through security. He sat at the gate waiting for his flight. A man sitting nearby recognized him. "Are you Daniel Carter?" the man asked. "Yes," Daniel said. The man opened his mouth to say something else, but Daniel stood up and walked away. He went to a different part of the terminal and sat alone until they called his flight. The plane to Boston was small. Daniel sat in a window seat. The flight only took 55 minutes. When the plane landed, Daniel felt his heart beat faster. He rented a car at the airport. He put the Boston address into the GPS and started driving. The office was downtown near the harbor. Daniel drove through the city streets. He passed brick buildings and restaurants and shops. The GPS said he arrived at his destination. Daniel parked across the street from a renovated brick building. The building was 4 stories tall with large windows. A sign near the door listed the businesses inside. Williams Consulting Group was on the 3rd floor. Daniel sat in the car. He looked at the building. People walked in and out. A woman in a business suit. A man carrying a briefcase. A delivery person with a package. Daniel checked his phone. It was 2:15 in the afternoon. He sat in the car and waited. He did not know what he was waiting for. He just was not ready to go inside yet. An hour passed. Daniel watched the building. At 3:30, the front doors opened, and 2 women walked out talking. Neither of them was Serena. At 4 o'clock, a man walked out on his phone. Not Serena. Daniel realized he could sit in this car forever, and it would not make the conversation easier. He took a deep breath. He opened the car door and stepped out onto the sidewalk. He crossed the street and walked to the building entrance. The door was glass. Daniel could see a lobby inside with a directory on the wall. He opened the door and went in. The lobby was clean and bright. Daniel found the directory. Williams Consulting Group, 3rd floor. Daniel walked to the staircase. He climbed the stairs slowly. At the 3rd floor, he opened the door and stepped into a hallway. There were 3 offices on this floor. At the end of the hall was a glass door with Williams Consulting Group written on it in silver letters. Daniel walked to the door. Through the glass, he could see a reception area. A young woman with short brown hair sat at a desk. She was typing on a computer. Daniel took a deep breath. He opened the door. The receptionist looked up and smiled. "Good afternoon. How can I help you?" "My name is Daniel Carter," Daniel said. "I am here to see Serena Williams." The receptionist's smile disappeared. Her eyes went wide. She definitely recognized his name. "Do you have an appointment?" she asked. "No," Daniel said, "but I need to speak with her. It is important." The receptionist hesitated. "Please wait here." She picked up the phone and pressed a button. She spoke quietly into the receiver. Daniel could not hear what she said. 2 minutes passed. Daniel stood in the reception area. His hands felt cold. His heart pounded. Then a door opened. Serena walked into the reception area. She wore gray pants and a white blouse. Her hair was pulled back. She stopped when she saw Daniel. Her face showed no emotion. "What are you doing here, Daniel?" Serena asked. Her voice was flat. "I need to talk to you," Daniel said. Serena looked at him for a long moment. The receptionist watched them both. The office was completely silent. "Follow me," Serena finally said. She turned and walked back through the door. Daniel followed her down a short hallway. Serena opened a door to a private office and walked inside. Daniel stepped in after her. Serena closed the door behind them. Serena's office was small but organized. A desk sat near the window with a computer and neat stacks of papers. 2 chairs faced the desk. Behind Serena's chair, the wall had several framed drawings. Daniel recognized them as children's artwork. Crayon pictures of houses and trees and stick figure families. Serena walked behind her desk and sat down. She did not offer Daniel a chair. Daniel sat anyway in one of the chairs facing her. "Why did you come to Boston?" Serena asked. "I want to be a father to Emma, Lily, and Jack," Daniel said. Serena laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was bitter and cold. "You think you can just walk into their lives after 5 years? You think you can show up and be a father?" "I know it sounds impossible," Daniel said. "I know I do not deserve a chance, but I want to try." "Why now?" Serena asked. "Why do you suddenly care now?" Daniel looked down at his hands. "I saw them at the conference. I saw their faces. They look exactly like me when I was 5 years old. And I realized I have 3 children who do not know I exist. I realized I threw away something I can never get back." "You threw it away 5 years ago," Serena said. "You threw me away. You threw them away before they were even born." "I know," Daniel said quietly. Serena leaned back in her chair. "Why did you really end our relationship, Daniel? I want the truth this time, not the lies you told me in that coffee shop." Daniel looked up at her. He knew he had to tell her everything. "The board of Tech Vision gave me an ultimatum." Serena's eyes narrowed. "What kind of ultimatum?" "They called me into a meeting the week before I broke up with you. They told me they had concerns about you. They said you did not come from wealth. You did not have the right connections. They said you did not fit the image they wanted for their CEO." "Image," Serena repeated. "Yes," Daniel said. "They told me I had to choose, end the relationship with you or lose the promotion to CEO. They gave me 1 week to decide." Serena stared at him. "So you chose CEO?" "I chose wrong," Daniel said. His voice broke. "I was a coward. I was afraid of losing everything I worked for. I grew up poor, Serena. I watched my parents struggle with money my entire childhood. I promised myself I would never be poor. When the board gave me that choice, I panicked. I thought I had to pick the career. I thought that was the only way to prove I was successful." "So you lied to me," Serena said. "You told me we wanted different things. You made me believe I was not enough." "I was ashamed," Daniel said. "I was ashamed that I was choosing money and power over you. I could not tell you the truth. I was too much of a coward." Serena looked at the window. Outside, the sun was starting to set. The office filled with orange light. "Do you know what it felt like?" Serena asked. Her voice was quiet. "Sitting in that coffee shop, watching you walk away? I kept thinking I did something wrong. I kept replaying our relationship in my head, trying to figure out what I did to make you stop loving me." "You did nothing wrong," Daniel said. "It was all me." 1 week later, I found out I was pregnant," Serena continued. "I was terrified. but I was also happy. I thought maybe when you found out about the baby you would come back. I thought it would change things. But I blocked you, Daniel said. You blocked me, Serena confirmed. 53 phone calls, 37 emails, 3 visits to your office building. You built a wall. You made it impossible for me to reach you. I am sorry, Daniel said. Sorry does not fix 5 years, Serena said. She looked back at Daniel. Do you understand what you missed? You missed me lying on a bathroom floor taking a pregnancy test alone. You missed me sitting in a doctor's office finding out I was having triplets. You missed me working 2 jobs while my ankles swelled and my back hurt so badly I could barely stand. You missed me in a hospital room for 14 hours in labor with no one there. You missed me bringing 3 newborn babies home to an empty apartment and crying because I did not know how I was going to survive. Daniel felt tears in his eyes. I know. You missed their first night home when none of them would stop crying and I thought I was going to lose my mind. You missed their first smiles, their first words. Emma said mama first, then Lily said book because I was always reading to them. Jack said ball because he loved playing with his toy ball. You missed Emma's first day of kindergarten when she cried and held my leg and did not want me to leave. You missed Lily learning to read. You missed Jack scoring his first goal in soccer. You missed everything, Daniel. I know, Daniel said again. His voice was barely a whisper. Serena stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the city. Emma, Lily, and Jack are happy. They have a good life. They have friends at school. They have activities they love. They have me. They do not need you. I understand, Daniel said, but I need them. I need to be part of their lives, even if they never forgive me, even if they never call me Dad. I need to try. Serena turned around. Why should I let you near them? Give me one good reason. Because they deserve to know their father, Daniel said. Not the father I was, not the coward who ran away, but the father I want to become. I resigned from Tech Vision. I walked away from everything the board wanted me to be. I am done living for other people's approval. I want to live for something real. I want to live for them. Serena studied his face for a long time. Daniel did not look away. If I let you meet them, Serena finally said, there will be rules. Anything, Daniel said. You will follow my schedule. You will visit when I say you can visit. You will not show up unannounced. You will not make promises you cannot keep. You will be consistent. If you say you will be there, you will be there. No excuses, no cancellations, no putting work first. I agree, Daniel said. If you hurt them, Serena continued, if you disappoint them, if you make them feel like they are not important, I will remove you from their lives forever. Do you understand? Yes, Daniel said. They do not know you, Serena said. They will be confused and probably scared. You cannot expect them to call you Dad. You cannot expect them to love you. You have to earn their trust. That will take time, maybe years, maybe forever. I understand, Daniel said. Serena walked back to her desk. She opened a drawer and took out a notepad. She wrote something down and then tore off the paper. She handed it to Daniel. This is my home address, Serena said. Come on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. I will introduce you to Emma, Lily, and Jack. You will have 1 hour, that is all. Daniel took the paper. His hands were shaking. Thank you. Do not thank me yet, Serena said. Being a parent is the hardest thing you will ever do, especially when you are starting 5 years late. Emma, Lily, and Jack are not going to make it easy for you. They are going to have questions. They are going to be angry. They might reject you completely. I know, Daniel said. Saturday at 10 o'clock, Serena repeated. Do not be late. And Daniel? Yes? Do not make me regret this, Serena said. Daniel stood up. He folded the paper carefully and put it in his pocket. "I will see you on Saturday." He walked to the door and opened it. He looked back at Serena one more time. She was already sitting back down at her desk. She did not look at him. Daniel left the office and walked down the hallway. The receptionist watched him leave. Daniel went down the stairs and out of the building. He stood on the sidewalk in the evening air. He looked at the paper in his hand. Serena's address. Saturday at 10 o'clock. In 4 days, Daniel would meet his children for the first time. Daniel walked back to his rental car. He sat in the driver's seat and looked at the address again. He put it in his GPS. The house was 20 minutes away in a residential neighborhood outside downtown Boston. Daniel started the car, but he did not drive away. He sat there looking at the brick building where Serena worked. She built this company from nothing while raising 3 children alone. She was stronger than Daniel ever was. Daniel drove to a hotel near the airport. He checked in for 3 nights. He went to his room and lay on the bed. He stared at the ceiling. On Saturday morning, he would walk into Serena's house and meet Emma, Lily, and Jack. His children. 3 5-year-old children who did not know his name. Daniel closed his eyes. He thought about what Serena said. They might reject him. They might be angry. They might never forgive him. But Daniel had to try. He had to show up. He had to be there. For the first time in his life, Daniel was going to do something that was not about him. He was going to do something that mattered, even if it was 5 years too late. The next 4 days moved slowly. Daniel stayed in his hotel room near the Boston airport. He did not leave except to buy food. He did not answer phone calls. He did not check his email. On Tuesday, Daniel went to a bookstore. He walked through the children's section, looking at books. He did not know what 5-year-old children liked. He picked up a book about dinosaurs. He picked up a book about soccer. He picked up a book with fairy tales. He bought all 3 and took them back to his hotel. On Wednesday, Daniel called his mother in Philadelphia. She answered on the second ring. "Daniel," his mother said, "I have been trying to reach you for days. Are you okay?" "I am in Boston," Daniel said. "Boston? Why?" "I am meeting my children on Saturday," Daniel said. His mother was quiet. Then she said, "So it is true. You have 3 children?" "Yes," Daniel said. "Triplets, Emma, Lily, and Jack. They are 5 years old." "Daniel," his mother said softly, "why did you never tell me?" "I did not know," Daniel said. "I left Serena 5 years ago. She tried to tell me she was pregnant, but I blocked her. I did not give her a chance." His mother sighed. "I knew something was wrong when you ended things with Serena. You loved her. I could see it." "I made a mistake," Daniel said. "The board of Tech Vision told me to choose between Serena and becoming CEO. I chose CEO." "Oh, Daniel," his mother said. "I know," Daniel said. "I was a coward. But I am trying to fix it now. Serena is letting me meet the children on Saturday. I am terrified." "That is normal," his mother said. "Being a parent is terrifying. But you can do this. Just be honest with them. Be present. That is all children really need." "Thank you, Mom," Daniel said. "Call me after the visit," his mother said. "I want to know how it goes." Daniel hung up. He felt a little better, but not much. On Thursday, Daniel drove to Serena's neighborhood. He did not stop at her house. He just wanted to see the area. The neighborhood was quiet, with tree-lined streets and small yards. Children played outside. Parents pushed strollers. It looked peaceful. Daniel drove past Serena's house slowly. It was a 2-story home painted light blue. The front door was dark blue. There was a small yard with a tree. A swing hung from one of the branches. Toys sat on the front porch. Daniel kept driving. He circled the block and then drove back to his hotel. On Friday night, Daniel could not eat dinner. He ordered food from the hotel restaurant, but only took 2 bites. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling. He did not sleep. Saturday morning came. Daniel woke up at 6 o'clock, even though he was not sure he ever really fell asleep. He took a shower. He brushed his teeth 3 times. He tried to eat breakfast but felt too nervous. Daniel looked through his suitcase. He brought 3 different shirts. He put on jeans and a blue button-down shirt. Then he changed. He put on khaki pants and a green sweater. Then he changed again. He finally settled on jeans and a simple gray shirt. At 9 o'clock, Daniel left the hotel. The drive to Serena's house took 20 minutes. Daniel arrived at 9:30. He parked on the street in front of her house. He turned off the car and sat there. His heart was beating fast. His hands felt cold. He looked at the house. The curtains were closed. He could not see inside. Daniel looked at his watch. 9:35. He had 25 minutes. He waited. 9:40. 15 minutes left. 9:50. 10 minutes left. At 9:58, Daniel opened the car door. He stepped out onto the sidewalk. He walked slowly to the front door. He could hear children's voices inside. Laughter. Someone was singing. Daniel reached the door. He checked his watch. 10 o'clock exactly. He pressed the doorbell. The voices inside stopped. Daniel heard footsteps. The door opened. Serena stood there. She wore jeans and a white t-shirt. Her hair was down around her shoulders. She looked at Daniel for a moment, without speaking. "You are on time," Serena finally said. "You told me not to be late," Daniel said. Serena stepped aside. "Come in." Daniel walked into the house. The inside was warm and clean. The living room was directly to the right. Toys covered the floor. Building blocks, stuffed animals, coloring books. Shoes sat in a row by the door. Small shoes. Children's shoes. Daniel looked at the walls. Photos hung everywhere. Photos of Emma, Lily, and Jack as babies. As toddlers. At birthday parties. At the park. At the beach. There was a photo of all 3 of them wearing matching Halloween costumes. They were dressed as lions with orange manes around their faces. Daniel stared at the photos. He missed all of these moments. First birthdays. First Halloweens. First everything. "Wait here," Serena said. She walked to the stairs and went up. Daniel stood in the entryway. He could hear Serena's voice upstairs. She was talking to the children. He could not hear the words. Then he heard small footsteps on the floor above him. A minute later, Serena came back down the stairs. 3 children walked behind her. They stopped at the bottom of the stairs and stared at Daniel. Emma stood closest to Serena. She wore purple pants and a white shirt. Her blonde hair was in 2 braids. She held Serena's hand tightly. Lily stood next to Emma. She wore a pink dress with stars on it. Her blonde curly hair was loose around her shoulders. She looked at Daniel with wide green eyes. Jack stood on the other side. He wore blue jeans and a red shirt. His blonde hair was messy. He stood partially behind his sisters. Daniel stared at them. They were beautiful. They had his hair and his eyes and his face. But they had Serena's expressions, Serena's mannerisms. They did not know him at all. Serena knelt down next to the children. "Emma, Lily, Jack," she said gently. "This is Daniel Carter. He is your father." The 3 children looked at Daniel. No one spoke. Lily tilted her head. "Why does he have the same color eyes as us?" "Because children often look like their parents," Serena explained. "You have his hair color too, and his eyes." Emma looked up at Serena. "Where was he before?" The question hit Daniel hard. He did not know how to answer, but he had to try. Daniel knelt down on the floor so he was at the children's eye level. "I was not here before," Daniel said slowly. "I made a mistake, a big mistake. I should have been here, but I was not. I am sorry." "Why were you not here?" Emma asked. Her voice was quiet. "Because I made a bad choice," Daniel said. "I chose something else instead of being with you and your mom. I was wrong." Jack stepped out from behind his sisters. "Do you know how to play soccer?" Daniel smiled a little. "Yes, I know how to play soccer." "I like soccer," Jack said. "I have a team. We practice on Tuesdays." "That sounds fun," Daniel said. Lily walked closer to Daniel. "Do you like dinosaurs?" "I do," Daniel said. "I have a book about dinosaurs," Lily said. "Do you want to see it?" "I would like that very much," Daniel said. Serena stood up. "Why do you not show Daniel your toys in the living room? You can play for a little while." The children looked at each other. Then Lily grabbed Daniel's hand. Her hand was so small. She pulled him toward the living room. "Come on," Lily said. "My books are over here." Daniel stood up and followed Lily into the living room. Emma and Jack came too. They were still cautious but curious. Lily sat on the floor and pulled out a book from a basket. It had a dinosaur on the cover. "This is my favorite. It has a triceratops in it. That is my favorite dinosaur." Daniel sat on the floor next to her. "Can you show me?" Lily opened the book and pointed to a picture. "See, 3 horns. That is why it is called triceratops." "You are very smart," Daniel said. Emma sat down too. She did not sit close to Daniel. She sat near the couch. She watched him carefully. Jack brought over a soccer ball. "Can you show me how to kick it?" "Maybe outside later if your mom says it is okay," Daniel said. Serena sat on the couch. She did not leave the room. She watched everything. For the next hour, Daniel sat on the living room floor with Emma, Lily, and Jack. Lily showed him all her books. She told him about every dinosaur and every animal. Emma eventually brought over some drawings she made. She showed them to Daniel, but did not let him touch them. Jack talked about his soccer team. He talked about his friend Lucas, who also played. He talked about how he scored a goal last week. The children did not call Daniel Dad. They called him Daniel. That was okay. Daniel did not expect them to call him Dad. Not yet. Maybe not ever. After 1 hour, Serena stood up. "Okay, kids, it is time for Daniel to go." "Already?" Lily asked. "Yes," Serena said. "Daniel will come back another time." Jack looked at Daniel. "Will you come to my soccer game?" "If your mom says I can, then yes," Daniel said. Serena walked Daniel to the door. The children followed. They stood in the entryway looking at him. "Thank you for letting me visit," Daniel said to the children. "Thank you for showing me your books and your drawings and telling me about soccer." "Bye, Daniel," Lily said. "Bye," Jack said. Emma did not say anything. She just looked at him. Daniel walked out the door and down the steps. He turned back. Serena stood in the doorway with Emma, Lily, and Jack beside her. They looked like a complete family. A family that Daniel was not really part of yet. Daniel got in his car and started the engine. As he drove away, he looked in the rearview mirror. Serena was still standing in the doorway. The children were waving. Daniel drove down the street and turned the corner. He pulled over and stopped the car. He sat there for a long time. He just met his children. His 3 5-year-old children. They showed him their toys and their books. They talked to him. They let him sit with them. It was only 1 hour. It was only the beginning. But it was something. Daniel put his head down on the steering wheel. He felt tears on his face. He did not know if they were sad tears or happy tears. Maybe both. He had a long way to go. Years of trust to build. Years of showing up and proving he meant what he said. But today, for 1 hour, Emma, Lily, and Jack let him into their world. and Daniel was not going to waste this chance. Daniel wiped his eyes and sat up. He looked at himself in the car mirror. His face was red. His eyes were wet. He took a deep breath and started the car again. He drove back to his hotel. When he got to his room, he called his mother. "How did it go?" his mother asked immediately. "They let me sit with them," Daniel said. "Lily showed me her dinosaur books. Jack talked about soccer. Emma showed me her drawings." "That is wonderful," his mother said. "They called me Daniel," Daniel said. "Not Dad, just Daniel." "That is okay," his mother said. "You have to start somewhere." Daniel talked to his mother for 20 minutes. Then he hung up and lay on the bed. He looked at the ceiling and thought about Emma, Lily, and Jack. The next day, Sunday, Serena called Daniel. "You can come again next Saturday," Serena said. "Same time, 10 o'clock. "Thank you," Daniel said. "1 hour again," Serena said. "Do not be late." "I will be there," Daniel said. That week, Daniel made decisions about his life. He could not be a father from New York. He needed to be in Boston, close to his children, close enough to see them regularly. On Monday, Daniel called a real estate agent in Boston. He asked about apartments for rent. Small apartments. 1 bedroom. Nothing expensive. On Tuesday, the agent sent Daniel 3 options. Daniel picked the cheapest one. It was a 1-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood 20 minutes from Serena's house. The rent was $1,000 per month. Daniel used to spend more than that on dinners in Manhattan. Now it would be his housing cost. Daniel signed the lease over email. He would move in at the end of the month. On Wednesday, Daniel received more emails from Ashley's lawyer. The divorce was moving forward. Ashley wanted the penthouse apartment. She wanted half of Daniel's savings. She wanted half of everything. Daniel's lawyer called him. "You could fight this," the lawyer said. "You do not have to give her everything. Give her whatever she wants," Daniel said. "I do not care. Just make it fast." "Are you sure?" the lawyer asked. "Yes," Daniel said. On Thursday, Daniel called his bank. He asked about his TechVision stock. He still owned shares worth $8 million. Daniel told the bank to sell all of it. "All of it?" the banker asked. "Mr. Carter, are you certain? That is a significant asset." "Sell it," Daniel said. The stock sold on Friday. $8 million appeared in Daniel's account. Daniel immediately transferred $6 million into 3 separate trust accounts. $2 million for Emma. $2 million for Lily. $2 million for Jack. College funds. Money they could access when they turned 18. Daniel called Serena on Friday evening. "I set up college funds for the children," Daniel said, $2 million each. "The accounts are in their names. You can manage them until they are adults." Serena was quiet for a moment. "That is a lot of money, Daniel." "It is the least I can do," Daniel said. "I missed 5 years. I cannot give them back that time. But I can make sure they have opportunities." "Thank you," Serena said. Her voice was softer than usual. "But money does not make up for being present." "I know," Daniel said. "That is why I am moving to Boston. I signed a lease for an apartment. I am moving at the end of this month." Serena was quiet again. "You are moving here?" "Yes," Daniel said. "I cannot be a father from New York. I need to be close to them." "Okay," Serena said. Saturday came again. Daniel drove to Serena's house. He arrived at 10 o'clock exactly. He knocked on the door. Serena opened it. Emma, Lily, and Jack stood behind her. Lily smiled when she saw Daniel. "Hi, Daniel," Lily said. "Hi, Lily," Daniel said. The second visit was easier than the first. The children were less scared. They showed Daniel more toys. Jack brought out building blocks, and they built a tower together. Emma sat on the couch and drew pictures. She did not talk much, but she stayed in the room. After 1 hour, Serena said it was time for Daniel to leave. The children said goodbye. Daniel came back the next Saturday, and the Saturday after that, and the Saturday after that. Every Saturday for 6 months, Daniel drove to Serena's house at 10 o'clock in the morning. He stayed for 1 hour. He sat on the living room floor with Emma, Lily, and Jack. He listened to their stories. He looked at their drawings and their books. He played with their toys. The children were always polite, but they were distant. They called him Daniel. They did not hug him. They did not ask him personal questions. Sometimes Daniel brought small gifts. Coloring books for Emma, new dinosaur books for Lily, a soccer ball for Jack. Serena allowed the gifts but told Daniel not to bring expensive things. "They do not need toys," Serena said. "They need consistency." During those 6 months, Daniel's old life completely fell apart. Ashley finalized the divorce. She took the penthouse and half of Daniel's money. Her lawyer sent the final papers in July. Daniel signed them without reading. News articles about the scandal continued for weeks. Business magazines wrote stories about Daniel's fall from power. TechVision appointed a new CEO. Daniel's name was removed from the company website. Daniel became known as the CEO who abandoned his children. Reporters called him. Daniel never answered. His reputation was destroyed. He did not care anymore. In August, Daniel moved into his small apartment in Boston. The apartment had 1 bedroom, a tiny kitchen, and a living room barely big enough for a couch. The walls were white and empty. Daniel brought almost nothing from New York, just clothes and a few books. He needed a job. He could not live off his remaining money forever. Daniel applied to tech companies in Boston. Most rejected him immediately. The scandal made him unhireable. No one wanted a CEO with a destroyed reputation. Finally, a small tech startup called him for an interview. The company had 15 employees. They created software for small businesses. The CEO was a woman named Rachel Kim. She was 30 years old and built the company herself. Rachel interviewed Daniel in a small office. "I know about your situation," Rachel said. "I read the articles. I am going to be honest with you, Daniel. Most companies will not hire you. Your name is associated with scandal." "I understand," Daniel said. "But I believe people can change," Rachel continued. "I believe in second chances. We need a senior manager, someone who understands business operations. The salary is $150,000 per year. No stock options, no bonuses, just salary. It is probably less than you are used to." "I will take it," Daniel said. Rachel raised her eyebrows. "You do not want to negotiate?" "No," Daniel said. "I just want to work. I need to stay in Boston. I need to be close to my children." Rachel nodded. "Okay, you start Monday." Daniel started his new job in September. He went to the office every day from 9 to 5. He managed projects. He wrote reports. He attended meetings. No one treated him like a celebrity. No one asked for his autograph. His co-workers knew about his past, but they did not talk about it. Daniel preferred it this way. Simple work. No fame, no pressure, just showing up and doing his job. Every Saturday, Daniel still visited Emma, Lily, and Jack. The visits continued, 1 hour every week. Daniel never missed a Saturday, not once. In October, 3 months after the first visit, something changed. Daniel arrived at Serena's house. The children came downstairs. Emma walked into the living room and sat next to Daniel on the couch instead of across the room. It was a small thing, but it meant everything. Emma was starting to trust him. In November, 4 months in, Lily brought Daniel a book. "Can you read this to me?" she asked. Daniel's throat felt tight. "Yes, I would love to." He read the book to Lily. She sat next to him and looked at the pictures. When he finished, she said thank you and ran off to play. In December, 5 months in, Jack asked Daniel to play soccer in the backyard. Serena said it was okay. They went outside. The yard was small but big enough to kick a ball. Jack showed Daniel how he practiced. They kicked the ball back and forth. "You are really good," Daniel said. "I have been practicing a lot," Jack said. "Coach says I might be the best on the team." "I believe it," Daniel said. They played for 15 minutes. Then Serena called them inside. Jack ran to the door. Daniel followed. These small moments meant everything to Daniel. Emma sitting near him, Lily asking him to read, Jack playing soccer with him. The children were warming up. Slowly. Very slowly. But it was happening. One Saturday in late December, 6 months after the first visit, Daniel was playing soccer with Jack in the backyard. Jack kicked the ball hard. It went over the fence into the neighbor's yard. "I will get it!" Jack yelled. He ran to the fence. "Be careful!" Daniel called after him. Jack climbed on a small step stool near the fence and reached over. He grabbed the ball. "I got it, Dad!" Then Jack froze. He turned around and looked at Daniel with wide eyes. He realized what he said. "I am sorry," Jack said quickly. He looked scared. "I did not mean—" Jack dropped the ball and ran into the house. Daniel heard the back door slam. Daniel stood in the yard alone. His heart was pounding. Jack called him Dad. For 1 second, Jack called him Dad. Daniel walked slowly to the back door. He went inside. Serena was in the kitchen. Jack was standing next to her with his face buried in her side. "I am sorry, Mommy," Jack was saying. "I did not mean to call him that." Serena looked at Daniel. Then she looked down at Jack. "It is okay, sweetie. You did not do anything wrong." "But he is not my dad," Jack said. "He was not here before." Daniel knelt down on the kitchen floor. "Jack, can you look at me?" Jack turned his head slightly. "You can call me whatever feels right to you," Daniel said. "You can call me Daniel. You can call me Dad. You can call me anything. There is no wrong answer, okay?" Jack nodded but did not say anything. The visit ended a few minutes later. Daniel left. He drove back to his apartment. He walked inside and closed the door. His apartment was quiet and empty. Daniel sat on his couch. He thought about Jack's face when he realized what he said. Jack looked terrified. He thought he did something wrong by calling Daniel Dad. Daniel put his head in his hands. Jack might never call him Dad again. Emma might never call him Dad. Lily might never call him Dad. They might always call him Daniel. That was okay. Daniel did not deserve the title of father. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But for 1 second, Jack said it. 1 second where Daniel was Dad. And Daniel would give up everything he ever had 1,000 times over for one more chance to hear it. Daniel woke up the next morning in his small apartment. Sunlight came through the window. He made coffee and sat at his kitchen table. The table was small, just 2 chairs, nothing like the dining room in his penthouse. Daniel thought about Jack calling him Dad. He thought about Jack's scared face afterward. Daniel picked up his phone. He almost called Serena, but then stopped. He would see them again on Saturday. 5 more days. The week passed slowly. Daniel went to work every day at the tech startup. He managed projects and attended meetings. He ate lunch alone at his desk. He went home to his empty apartment every night. On Wednesday, Serena called him. "Hello," Daniel answered. "Hi," Serena said. "I wanted to talk to you about what happened on Saturday with Jack." Daniel's chest felt tight. "Is he okay?" "He is fine," Serena said. "He was confused. He asked me why he called you Dad. I told him that sometimes our mouths say things before our brains catch up. I told him it was okay." "Thank you," Daniel said. The children are starting to see you as part of their lives, Serena continued. That is good. But it also means they are going to have complicated feelings. They are going to be confused about who you are to them. I understand, Daniel said. Just keep being consistent, Serena said. Keep showing up. That is what matters. Saturday came again. Daniel drove to Serena's house at 10 o'clock. He knocked on the door. Serena opened it. Emma, Lily, and Jack stood behind her. Jack looked at Daniel nervously. Daniel smiled at him. Hi, Jack. Hi, Daniel, Jack said quietly. They went into the living room. The children played. Jack was quieter than usual, but he stayed in the room. After 30 minutes, he brought Daniel his soccer ball. Can we play outside? Jack asked. If your mom says yes, Daniel said. Serena nodded. They went to the backyard. Daniel and Jack kicked the ball back and forth. Neither of them mentioned what happened last week, but Jack smiled more. He laughed when Daniel missed the ball. The visits continued every Saturday, 1 hour. Daniel never missed a week. In January, 7 months after the first visit, Serena called Daniel on a Tuesday. The triplets are turning 6 years old in September, Serena said. I am planning a birthday party, just a small party in the backyard with some of their friends from school. Daniel waited. He did not know why Serena was telling him this. I wanted to know if you would like to come, Serena said. Daniel felt tears in his eyes. Yes, I would like that very much. It is on Saturday, September 15th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Serena said. I will send you the details. Thank you, Daniel said. Months passed. Daniel kept working at the startup. He kept living in his small apartment. He kept visiting Emma, Lily, and Jack every Saturday. In March, 8 months in, Emma brought Daniel one of her drawings. This is for you, she said. You can keep it. The drawing showed a house with a tree. 5 stick figures stood in front of the house. 1 tall figure labeled Mom. 3 small figures labeled Emma, Lily, and Jack. And 1 more tall figure labeled Daniel. This is beautiful, Daniel said. Thank you, Emma. Emma smiled a little. Then she went back to her coloring books. Daniel looked at the drawing. He was in it. He was part of their picture. Not as Dad, just as Daniel. But he was there. In June, Lily asked Daniel about his job. What do you do at work? I help a small company organize their projects, Daniel said. I make sure everyone knows what they are supposed to do. Is it fun? Lily asked. Sometimes, Daniel said. It is not exciting, but I like it. It lets me stay in Boston near you. I am glad you live in Boston, Lily said. Then she went back to her books. Daniel felt his throat get tight. Lily was glad he lived in Boston. She wanted him nearby. In July, Serena called Daniel again. I think we can increase the visits, Serena said. You have been consistent for almost a year. You have not missed a single Saturday. The children are comfortable with you now. What are you suggesting? Daniel asked. You can come twice a week, Serena said. Saturdays at 10 o'clock, and Wednesdays after school at 4 o'clock, but only for 1 hour each time. Yes, Daniel said immediately. Thank you. The same rules apply, Serena said. Be on time. Be consistent. If you say you will be there, you have to be there. I will be there, Daniel said. Starting in August, Daniel visited twice a week, Saturdays and Wednesdays. He helped Jack practice soccer in the backyard. He read books to Lily. He looked at Emma's drawings and told her she was talented. September 15th arrived. The triplets' 6th birthday. Daniel drove to Serena's house at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Cars filled the street. Parents were dropping off children for the party. Daniel parked and walked to the house. The front door was open. He could hear children's voices and music. Daniel went to the backyard. The yard was decorated with balloons and streamers. A table had a birthday cake with 6 candles. About 15 children ran around playing. Parents stood in groups talking. Serena saw Daniel and walked over. "Hi," she said. "Thank you for coming." "Thank you for inviting me," Daniel said. Emma, Lily, and Jack were playing with their friends. They did not notice Daniel at first. Then Jack looked up and saw him. Jack ran over. "Daniel, you came," Jack said. "Of course I came," Daniel said. "It is your birthday." Lily ran over too. "Did you bring presents?" Daniel laughed. "Yes, they are in my car. I will get them." Daniel went to his car and came back with 3 wrapped boxes. He put them on the gift table. For the next 2 hours, Daniel stayed at the party. He helped serve cake. He helped organize games. He took photos. He was just another adult helping out. But he was there. He was present. Near the end of the party, Emma walked up to Daniel. She did not say anything. She just stood next to him and held his hand for a minute. Then she ran off to play with her friends. Daniel looked down at his hand. Emma had held it, just for a minute. But she chose to stand next to him. After all the other children left, Daniel helped Serena clean up. They picked up paper plates and cups. They took down decorations. Emma, Lily, and Jack opened their presents inside. "Thank you for helping," Serena said. "I wanted to," Daniel said. They worked in silence for a few minutes. Then Serena stopped and looked at Daniel. "You are doing better than I expected," she said. Daniel looked at her. "Really?" "Yes," Serena said. "You have been consistent. You show up when you say you will. You do not make promises you cannot keep. The children trust you now, not completely, but they are getting there." "Thank you for giving me this chance," Daniel said. "I know I do not deserve it." "No one deserves anything," Serena said. "We just do our best with what we have. You missed the first 5 years of their lives. You cannot change that. But you can be here for what comes next." Daniel nodded. "That is all I want." 1 year passed since Daniel first met Emma, Lily, and Jack. It was now October. Daniel still visited twice a week. The children were comfortable with him now. They talked to him about school and friends. They showed him their homework. They asked him questions about his life. They still called him Daniel. Not Dad. Daniel did not push it. Maybe one day they would call him Dad. Maybe they would not. That was their choice. One Saturday in October, Daniel arrived at 10 o'clock. Serena let him in. The children were in the living room. Emma was drawing, Lily was reading. Jack was building something with blocks. "Hi, Daniel," they all said when he walked in. Daniel sat on the floor with them. After a while, Emma brought her drawing over. "Look what I made," she said. The drawing showed 5 stick figures holding hands. They were labeled Mom, Emma, Lily, Jack, and Daniel. All 5 were connected. All 5 were together. "Can I keep this one too?" Daniel asked. "Yes," Emma said. That afternoon, Daniel went home to his apartment. He hung Emma's drawing on his refrigerator next to the first one she gave him. He stepped back and looked at both drawings. In the first drawing, the 5 figures stood separately. In the second drawing, they held hands. The children were letting him in, slowly, one step at a time. Daniel sat by his window and looked out at the Boston streets below. His life was completely different now. He was not CEO of TechVision anymore. He did not live in a penthouse. He did not drive expensive cars. He did not have fame or power. But he had something better. He had 3 children who were learning to trust him. He had a chance to be part of their lives. Daniel thought about the choice he made 6 years ago in that conference room. The board told him to choose between Serena and becoming CEO. Daniel chose CEO. He chose money and power and image. He lost everything that mattered. But now he was making different choices. He chose to resign from TechVision. He chose to move to Boston. He chose to show up every week for Emma, Lily, and Jack. He chose to be present even when it was hard, even when the children did not call him Dad, even when they kept him at a distance. Daniel could not fix the past. He could not get back the first 5 years. He missed their births and their first words and their first steps. He missed so much. That pain would never go away. But he could be here now. He could show up. He could be consistent. He could prove that he meant what he said. Serena was right. Children do not need perfection. They need presence. They need someone who shows up week after week. Someone who keeps promises. Someone who proves through actions that they care. Daniel made a promise to himself. He would visit Emma, Lily, and Jack every week for the rest of his life. He would be there for soccer games and art shows and school plays. He would be there for birthdays and holidays. He would be there when they were happy and when they were sad. It would take years to earn their complete trust. Maybe it would take forever. Maybe they would never fully forgive him for missing the first 5 years. But Daniel would keep showing up. Every week, every month, every year, he would be present. He would be consistent. He would prove that they mattered more than anything else. Because Daniel finally understood what success really meant. Success was not a corner office, or a big salary, or fame. Success was not image, or power, or wealth. Success was 3 children learning to trust him. Success was Emma giving him her drawings. Success was Lily asking him to read to her. Success was Jack playing soccer with him in the backyard. Success was showing up even when you do not deserve a second chance. Success was doing the work to repair what you broke. Success was choosing family over everything else. Daniel looked at the drawings on his refrigerator one more time. 5 stick figures holding hands. Mom, Emma, Lily, Jack, and Daniel. He was part of their picture now. Not perfectly, not completely, but he was there. And Daniel would never walk away again. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen